So there are, and uh, on the complete system level, there is a lot of complexity. If you see any MIMO, massive MIMO network, you will find there is a lot of complexity in the system there itself, right? A lot of RF cables which are going on. The system has to be phase coherent. Then, if you have a 32 transmitter, just imagine that you can just make the system phase coherent. Right? Phase coherent is something like you are running all the 32 transmitters and the 32 receivers with a single local oscillator. Right? So you need to have the power splitters and so many things. Right? So and that is the biggest challenge as far as the implementation is concerned. Now, what are the disadvantages? Few of them we have already discussed. It's something like a hardware complex. Right? So each antennas need as a radio RF radio frequency unit, that is RF system. So when I say it's a 32 by 32, that means 32 antenna for transmitter, 32 antennas for receiver. If you are having 32 transmitting antennas, then every antenna is having its own RF unit. If I am just correlating with the yesterday's design, then I can say that every vector signal modulator, which is a transmitter, is for individual antenna. So if I am having 32 by 32 system, then I will be having 32 VSM module, which is capable of processing independent signal, and that's why you are able to process the signal independently in the space dimension, right? So there is no multiplexing like time division or frequency division, right? So you are going to use the space dimension which is there, right? And that will create a lot of complexity at the hardware, right? So and as far as the processing is concerned, you need to have a very powerful digital signal processing unit, which will take care of processing the high-speed signal which is there. And that's why to do the parallel processing, FPGAs are the most popular technology which has been used and the baseband, digital baseband processing signal. And the software complexity, the most signal processing algorithms are computationally intensive. So a lot of signal processing needs to be done at the software side. And because of that, because see previously we used to have the only single antenna or one transmitter to one receiver, but now there will be more, right? So the power consumption will be higher, right? So battery lifetime of a mobile device is again a big problem. Then heating of the mobile will also be a major issue, right? So the thermal problem will occur due to that. So this has to be taken care. So again, they are just thinking about that. Why can we process more of a data into the base station rather than on the handsets, right? So a lot of base stations and mobile stations which are existing right now, they are just trying to change with the smart antenna technology and the massive MIMO technology in order to get the best range, coverage, capacity, and the reliability. Right. So they're focusing on these areas. Right? And then comes the antenna issues which are there when you are placing these antennas closer to each other. Then the electromagnetic mutual coupling will be a big problem. Right. So something like your mobile handset, the size of the handset is very less. Right. So how can you have the four antennas or something like that within that small piece of the hardware, right? So these are the some of the challenges which are there. So RF interference is with an antenna is a big problem, right? So these are some of the technical side disadvantage I see from the implementation of MIMO and the massive MIMO technology is concerned, right? But yes, if you see the advantages, that is from the consumer side, right? So that is from the buyer side. They will be able to get a good quality of the service. So so the hardware, I mean, the system engineering team who is working on the any MIMO or massive MIMO projects, they need to take care of all those things in order to get out the take out the all the advantages of MIMO which is there. Now, as you can see, this is just a comparative of the with respect to the spectral efficiency. You can see the capacity on the y-axis, that is capacity bits per second per hertz, and on the x-axis you have the number of antenna elements, right? So As you can see, the black one, which is the CISO, you can see the number of antenna elements, the capacity is very low. So as you go on increasing the channel, the number of antenna elements, you can substantially increase the capacity of your channel, right? So you can see the channel capacity can be easily increased. So blue one is the MIMO. So more the antenna elements, you can increase the channel capacity. So if you see the fading also, we saw in the previous slides, in terms of number here, you can see in terms of graphs, the fading reduction. In case of the CISO, you can see there is a fading reduction, which is on the higher side. Right? So once you have a 2x2 MIMO, you can just see that it has been substantially reduced. Right? So get a better performance over the period of time. So it's directly proportional to the directivity order. So how much is your order? So let's say if it's a MIMO of n by n to the power 2, and for CMO it is n. Right? So if you have one transmitter and multiple receiver, then it will be 1. But if you have a multiple input and the multiple outputs, then it will be nothing but n to the power 2. So MIMO efficiently exploit diversity at both sides, that is transmitter as well as the receiver side. Right? So when we use, there are certain terms, we'll see in the upcoming slides that CISO, then CMO, then MISO, then MIMO. So MIMO is basically, you have on both sides, you want to exploit the diversity matches which are there. So example is like correlated fadings at the receiver. So no CMO diversity, but MIMO will work under the correlated fading scenario. Similarly, for the two-fold higher system ability for the MIMO than for the CMO. Right? So we'll see how it is. So you can see that number of elements, antenna elements with the channel capacity. Right. So this is the CMO case. Right, so you can just see, you can achieve up to this one, C equal to log to the base 2, 1 plus signal to noise ratio. Whereas in case of MIMO, as you increase the number of, and this one is the logarithmic, you can see in case of a CMO and MISO, it's a logarithmic, right? But in case of a MIMO, you can see that it is purely a linear. You increase the number of elements and it is just giving you good channel capacity. Exterior channel capacity will get increased. Right? So there is a clear indication that why people are going for the MIMO based design. So what are the different type of a MIMO system? So MIMO involves space-time transmitter diversity, that is STDD, and space multiplexing, and that is SM, and the uplink collaborative MIMO system. Right? So space-time diversity, transmitter diversity is something like the same data is coded and transmitted through different media. Like, say you have a data, you want to transmit it, so you have coded that data, and you have given to, let's say if you have a system of 2 transmitters, then you have given to both the transmitter that particular data, which effectively doubles the power in the channel, definitely. Right? So because you have the same information you are giving, you are just radiating through 2 different antennas, so the probability is definitely going to increase. So this improves the signal to noise ratio, right? So of a cell edge performance. And spatial multiplexing is like it's like a secret sauce of MIMO. So you exploit the spatial dimension which is there. So spatial multiplexing delivers parallel strings of data, right? And this goes to the by exploiting the multipath effect which is there. So what it can do, it can double the 2x2 MIMO or a 4x4 MIMO channel capacity and the throughput, right? So it is widely, definitely you cannot have a 4x4 MIMO on the handset. So it has been deployed on the BTS side, that is base station transmitter and receiver side, right? So, and the next one is the uplink collaborative MIMO link. So it leverage the conventional single power amplifier at the device, and two devices can collaboratively transmit on the same sub channels, which can also double the uplink channel capacity. So these are the various type of minor systems. Right? So this is the space-time transmit diversity. It is also known as LMNT coding. Right? So LMNT algorithms which is used at the encoder side. So how it does, right? You have a two transmitter, let's say TX1 and TX2, and you have a bit stream of zeros and ones and zeros continuously, which is your data. So you modulate it, you get the symbols, right? So if you do the baseband modulation, any type of, you will get the symbols of each and every uh, uh, information which is there, or the bits which is there. Now these bits, you can see that it has been converted into space dimension, right? So you can see its conjugate has been converted, right? So you can see you have the for 2 by 2 you have S11, S12, S21, and S22. Right? So you can share this you can send this information into the space dimension, right? So in this way you can just transmit your information. The probability will definitely going to increase substantially. Here is you can see the signal to noise ratio and the channel capacity. So blue one is basically a one by one seesaw model where you have, you can see this is based on the channel one. But as you go on increasing to 2 by 2 MIMO or 3 by 3 MIMO, so we can see that the signal to noise ratio has been improved and the channel capacity has been substantially improved. So this is a clear indication of the spatial multiplexing technique. Again, this is one of the graphs we can see that is a channel capacity with the probability, right? So here also it shows that in case of MIMO, you get a better performance. This is an ideal scenario, or you can consider as a practical also everywhere where the reflections are very high, right? So each multipath route, we can see that there is a direct path and there are so many reflected paths from the nearby walls or cupboards and so on. So these are the multiple reflections which are occurring in that particular room, right? So, and each multiple path is basically a route is treated as a separate channel in case of the mining system, right? And that will create many virtual wires. It's something like many virtual wires parallelly coming to, right, over which to transmit the signal. And traditional radios are confused by this multiple paths. So consider the same scenario where you have only one transmit and one receiver. Under that condition, this multipath becomes a very big problem, right? So then, and the receiver, CISO receiver, will get confused, right? So, and that's why you get a problem, something like a delay spread, right? Or the low in the signal to noise ratio due to fading and so on, right? While in case of a MIMO, it becomes an advantage. So these echo signals which are coming is basically increase the range and throughput also, right? And that's why it is more preferable in the reflected zone, or best example is the urban areas. So different from the traditional multiplexes, so it is neither a FDM, right? Neither a TDM, neither a CDM, right? So basically FDMA you separate with respect to frequency. In TDMA you separate in terms of time. At a different time interval you send the data. In CDMA what we do, same time, same frequency, but in a coded form, right? So it is neither a SDMA2, right? So like your smart antenna system. So it is basically environmental CDMA, like CDMA without having to spread the signal for the space-time domain. In case of CDMA, you need to spread the signals. I mean, your lower frequency signals get converted into high frequency by adding a chip right into it, and then you spread the entire information on that chip, right? But it is in case of a MIMO system, you are not going to spread the signal, but it will be a coded, right? And the environmental on the signal and comes free. So basically, it is superimposing. So overall, if you just sum up, basically what MIMO do is exploiting the multipath rather than multipath. So how it looks like, it's something like this. Theoretically also you can consider straight away. You have two transmitter, two receiving antennas, and your H is basically a propagation channel or a wireless channel, right? So, and that is nothing but your space area, spatial dimension. And you can consider that spatial dimension as an H matrix, right? So, your equation becomes y equal to, normally for the seesaw model or one transmitter and one receiver model, your equation becomes y of t, or y equal to x plus v, right? So x is your transmitted vector and y is your received vector, and v is your noise vector. Whereas in case of a MIMO, you are having the H dimension, which is a matrix channel, which is a space dimension. So this is what the MIMO looks like. So now when you have this H dimension, you can see that as I go on increasing the number of transmitter and the receiver element, there are so many number of paths which is going to create in the H dimension, right? So I can get the 4 by 4 matrix, right? So you can just imagine, if I want to send an information from transmitter 1, S1, right? So this S1 is going to R1 also, this S1 is going to R2 also, R3, R4. So it is going everywhere, right? So and those receivers are independent. Now every receiver is receiving and processing it independent, right? So you are into the spatial domain. Similarly, your second transmitter is transmitting S2, third is transmitting S3, and the fourth one is transmitting S4. Now you have a complete H matrix calculation, right? So you will be getting the signal magnitude, you will be getting the, you will be calculating the angle of the signals, and so on. So separating the self-coded signal is something like this. So it will separate it out. So how the channel matrix is something like this. You have a 3 by 4 system. Let's say you have 3 transmitters and the 4 transmitters. So your H matrix becomes like this, right? So you have a complex number of A plus JB, which there you have one as an A as your amplitude and your JB as your phase. So you have amplitude and phase both, and the frequency selective if you are using the OFDM system with the MIMO system. And how it is going to work, it is something like this. You have a 3 by 3 system. It's something as good as your mathematics of calculation of your matrix, right? So you have X and you have H matrix and you have a B plus 9, right? So when you take the B bar, then you have an H inverse of X1, X1, X2, and X2. So what are the applications of the MIMO and its standards? So it is used in 3GPP, UMTS with the MIMO enhancement. So enhanced 3G mobile telephony protocol. So allows UMTS based networks to have higher data rate. So because of MIMO, they were able to go up to 14.4 megabits per second. So, and after that, you have the combined with the MIMO 64 QAM, and they can go up to 84.4 megabits per second. And UMTS is something like the Universal Mobile Telephone Systems, and HSDPA is high-speed downlink packet access. Now, in your LTE, which we are already using advanced LTE and LTE in your 4G, so QAM, and it promises to deliver up to 1 gigabits per second. So at a fixed speed and 100 megabits per second for the mobile user. So basically, it always depends whether the specification is for moving, right, or the stationary specifications. Right? So in case of a stationary, definitely in the fixed speed you will get a better quality and better speed. And when you are moving, like in mobile phone, you will be getting lesser speed. WLAN, which is nothing but your Wi-Fi, is also using 802.11n, already using the MIMO system with 4x4 MIMO. Right? So configuration, the 40 megahertz of the channel, so it was previously 20. So now this is broadband RAN and WiMAX. WiMAX is extensively using which is your IEEE standard 802.16. And few years back, actually, MIMO was very much popular in the WiMAX. So, uh, I mean, during that time, they were able to achieve up to 1 gigabits per second. Straight away, the Ethernet cable is going straight away into the computers in order to get the high speed. Cable. And it was purely a OFDM based system. So it uses the multiplexing, spatial multiplexing, space-time coding, right? So all these terms are there. So this is what the complete MIMO at a short, I can say, because I haven't gone into the complete implementation and the mathematical part. So I've just gone through the visualization part of how you can visualize MIMO as a systems, and later on you can also develop certain things if you wish to on this particular area. So various algorithms and so on. So this is the platform right now you are able to see is basically the YesRIS platform. So you can see this is the setup where we have a transmitter on the left hand side where we have two transmitting antennas, omnidirectional antennas, and the second chassis which we have used as a receiver, two receivers. So this is a complete setup of 2x2 MIMO setup. And on a laptop screen, the design team is actually going through the three-dimensional view of the amplitude of H11, H12, H21, and 22, and along their phase angles. So on the runtime, they can see. So now, definitely, we are going to cover on a single chassis in the second half in the practical sessions, and I will demonstrate this MIMO system during our live demonstration. Now, we can move from this particular presentation to the next one, which is today's last presentation, which is the in continuation with this one. So basically, it's a diversity. We discussed most of the point in our MIMO presentation, but here I'm just talking about the wireless channel impairments, which is there. So this particular presentation is going to cover more on the wireless channel impairment. So as we radiate the signal over the air, there are a lot of wireless impairments, right? So wireless channel impairments. Right? So which are these? There's a noise is one of the channel impairments, so that we call it as a additive white Gaussian noise, right? So second impairment is related to the path loss, and then comes the shadowing in the signal. And then we also have the, for example, we can say the fading mode. Right? So these are the problems which occurs during the wireless channels altogether. So the basic concept is like you have a transmitted signals via the several independent diversity branches to get into the independent signal. So in order to achieve the same signal, it has to pass through a lot of wireless channels. Right? So to have the diversity, we need to have multiple branches, independent fading, and then process branches to reduce the complete fading probability which is occurring. So this is what the concept is. So we can see that what basically is the diversity scheme. So diversity is basically the subset of the MIMO system. Right? So one has to have the clear view about the diversity. So the diversity scheme provides two or more inputs at the receiver such that the fading phenomena among these inputs are uncorrelated. Right? So they are not same. If one radio path undergoes deep fading, let's say you have a two transmitting, right? So you are into the diversity mechanism, right? So if one path undergoes deep fading at a particular point in time, another is independent channel, so path may have a strong signal at that point. And that is the biggest advantage in case of a diversity. So if you have a two diversity antenna, let's say, and you are transmitting same information on both the antenna at the same time. So one antenna, when the signal received at the receiver, may have some faded signals, right, going through the deep fading environment, right? But when it crosses through the for the second antenna, it becomes actually let's say during that particular moment the signal is strong, right? So this you will get a better result, right? So you have another option also. So with this probability we can increase the quality of the signal within the same band, and subsequently we can increase the speed, and we can also increase the channel capacity. So what are the different techniques in the diversity? So in case of diversity, uh, we have different techniques, and what we can do is that we can cover this particular few diversity techniques in our second session, and subsequently we can have the live demonstration of the yesterday's platform which we have gone through. Right? So now I would like to pass on to Garima Madam to end up the today's first half.
Thank you, Mr. Satish. There are some queries from the participant. One is asking about the